tier, which I don't usually do, so all these drivers are strange to me, but I am Indecisive Mackie, or Matt, and I am usually found hanging out in the wall or in the Pinnacle tier commentary box. Joining me this week is Danestar. Good evening.
Good evening, Indecisive. Second time's the charm, really. My name is Dane. I'm not usually a commentator here, so you guys wouldn't know who I am, but I have commentated in the past. I commentated in Season 17 for the Prospect here alongside Jamie, and today I'm alongside the great Indecisive for this Podium tier Singapore Grand Prix. Hopefully we're in for a really good race.
Well, thanks for the kind words. I'm sure we are in for a great race, and let's just see what happens with the final 8.5 minutes and a little bit of change as Salty Bear crosses the line. I think he's starting a lap now, so I'm going to stay on board with the Mercedes driver with the very fetching green helmet as he goes around turn one a little bit wide, and I think he may have made a mistake there, so he's probably going to back off that lap. Let's find someone that's Keys is in the pit lane on Inters. Are they expecting rain?
I have no idea. I thought you say someone was on intermediate. That's very interesting. They're probably just getting used to the track. But I believe we do have Cam, who's on the lap time right now. He's heading through the middle sector, just approaching the hairpin with the against the building with the really beautiful lights. Let's see if he can get a really good exit. He does. Straight opening the DRS, hugging that inside line just to make that run to the next corner as short as possible. He goes purple in sector 2. He's 3/10 up on his lap time, so he's on a really good lap at the moment. Just about to enter the final third sector. Gone into third gear, then holding it in third gear through the first chicane, then through the very tricky left-right-hander, where we've seen a lot of drivers here tonight in the Prospect here make a mistake and go straight on, but he seems to have nailed that. Down into third gear through the penultimate chicane. Oh, and he's lost it, and he's spun. Yeah, he's just got into the power a little bit too early there and just completely lost the rear of the car. Really good, really shame for him because he was on a really good lap there.
Yes, it was a great lap. He was purple through sector 2, as you say, and it was lighting up the timing board, so I'm pretty sure he would have gone provisionally pole, but unfortunately for him, he's ended that lap facing the wrong way, but I'm sure he'll go again later on in the session. But it is going to be leaving it to the last minute because it is a very long out lap here, and especially if you're delayed in the pits, you might not get another chance, so you have to maximise any track time you do get in qualifying.
Definitely, and we have Kian. He's on a lap time as well. He just went purple in the second sector, and he's second on the leaderboard, so he could actually be going on for provisional pole position here, depending on whether he can nail this final sector or not. He seems to have taken it really well, going in second gear through the tunnel, which I don't usually see, but he seems to have made it work. Now through the final corner, the very tricky corner, because he can either understeer a lot or oversteer and lose the car, but he seems to have taken it nicely. Used all of his ERS and just a 36-0 and goes provisional pole here with the final 6 minutes left. We've only got the shootout left, but Kian, he's looking really good. 4/10 clear of third place.
Yep, that was a great lap, as we saw there, and Kian is having a pretty solid season. He's 4th place overall in the driver standings, and he's just 4 points off of finishing, well, it being in the podium places. It's led by Cam on 51 points, with Vitinho in second on 40 points. As Speed Redmat just goes 36-0, just a little bit quicker. We've found the 35s, but for now he's seems to have retired as he set his lap. So has he lost it coming out of the final corner or something? But the rest of the drivers, let's find, we have Thomas in 5th on 34 points and Dax in 6th with 30. It's very tight this tier. Rich, Keys 27-25 respectively. Cav not here tonight, 21. Kong on 20 points in 10th. Then you have Tech and Dynastics on 18 points. Just behind them is Rogue on 17 and Aero on 12. KPP on 10. Jordan 6. OKK on 5. Yeah, KK, nice. Last season he couldn't get a point for love nor money, but he's on 5 this season. That's brilliant to see. Talking about KK, there he is on an out lap, so we'll go back to him shortly when he's closer to doing a lap. And to finish off the driver standings, you've got Salty Bear on 1 and Harley and Delta yet to score. But race premium drivers in there are Thomas, Jordan, I'm pretty sure that'll be OKK, Salty, Kong, Keys, Rich as well. But yeah, Kian's just back in the pits there after his sensational lap. Let's go back to, let's see if Kong's on a lap. Is he just coming around the, just finished the lap? But is he started or has he just finished the lap? I can't tell sometimes.
Yeah, he's finished his lap time. He's not really using. In fact, I think he is on a lap actually. He does seem to be taking that corner quite aggressively, and his ERS is going down quite a lot. So I think he is on a lap. But I just saw OKK on his out lap. He actually hit the barrier going into, I believe it was turn 14. So that's a shame for him. I think that's his qualifying session over. Whether he can get back to the pits still not quick enough, it's a different story. But he's really gonna have to push those soft tires. But yeah, we do have Kong on a lap time right now. He seems to be taking it quite nicely, you know, very tidy, not many mistakes made. He did ride over the curb a little bit there, which might have unsettled his car a little bit, hitting the curb once again. He seems to like abusing these curbs here, but he's not spun yet, so he's obviously doing something right. Through the hairpin, he takes a bit of a wider line, doesn't really clip the apex, but that's all to get a better exit, I suppose. Opening the DRS onto the third DRS straight. He's 4 tenths up on his lap time right now, and he is in P6, so this lap time right now, it won't move him up the position, but it will hopefully solidify his current position right now. Oh, and he's turned in a bit too early and has invalidated his lap time, just heading into the final sector. It's a real shame for him.
It is a shame, but we've all done it. We've just pinched an apex, or we've turned in slightly too early, and sometimes we get away with it, but unfortunately, on that occasion, he did not. Rich is on an out lap. I think he'll be a while before, because he's just come out of the pits on an out lap. So let's go to Jordan, see if he's further around the lap, which he is. He's just coming into the final sector. So quickly I'll go through the hot and cold for this tier. You've got hot, which is Cam, who was leading the championship, didn't need to win last week to extend his lead, but a second place did just that. And unfortunately, cold list is Delta there, who's still without a point, as I mentioned briefly earlier on. Rivalries now. We have Cav and Dax as the rivalries, with Cav serving quali ban. Would you say he may have a slight advantage in the race, which is obviously because unfortunately he's not racing tonight, so I guess that's probably why I couldn't find a response for that, but I probably would have stuck to boot it a little bit and go, yeah, sure, he may have the advantage in the race going up to turn 1, but I think if I can start further up the grid, I'll be more confident in my racecraft. And of course, Cav was asked, what do you think you can do from the back that Dax may not be able to do from a more traditional starting position? Again, I'd just stick to booting if I was asked that question. How about you? What would you do?
Sorry, what was that?
I was just going through the rivalries questions, and with the lack of a response, I'd be like, what would you say in that situation?
Sorry, could you read me the question again? I was really sorry about that, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it's okay. It was asked, what can you do from the back that Dax may not be able to do from a more traditional starting position?
Oh yeah, from the back. Well, you really have a huge advantage when you do the alternate strategy, especially on the 2-stop. You can make a medium soft or a medium soft work, and on most tracks, not particularly this one, most tracks, it does work, and it is quite a lot quicker than the traditional soft medium soft you would see. So I think he could make a lot work if he did the alternate strategy from starting from the back of the grid. But obviously you do have the handicap of starting at the back and having a lot of cars to overtake, so it's definitely a yin-yang scenario.
It definitely is, and of course different drivers have different preferences, but I think if I can't qualify at the front, I'd rather be at the back to avoid any potential first lap mayhem, unless I'm causing it all by binning it, which I did earlier, which you can see later on YouTube. But please stay here for this race, as we have Jordan on a lap now, and he's gone 3 tenths quicker through sector 1 than he's been before, so that would be quite an improvement if he can keep that up for the rest of the lap. But he's just into sector 2 now, and let's see what kind of time he can get on the board for the Alpine, who are doing okay in the Constructors' Championship. Not great, but they're doing okay. They're 5th with 40 points, so we're hoping for a good platform to build on here. There's a lot of times being set now. I'm on board with this, but Rogue will be starting. The highest he can do is P6. Someone's just improved there, I think, as there's all sorts of times going on, and he's gone by really quickly this session. Apologies again. for the...
Tell you what, Kian, he's on a really flying lap here, but the problem is he's going to be under a lot of heavy, dirty air from Thomas, who was in front of him. I believe he's also, in fact, I don't think he's on a lap time, so he's basically holding up Kian from potentially pole position here. He does have a chance to gain. And he's lost the car. And he's out the session. He's binned it. Oh, that's a real shame. Then I make a mistake there. It wasn't Thomas who was holding him up. It was someone else. But yeah, that's a real shame for Kian, who was going purple in sector 2. But for the final cars, we do have Cam. He's coming through the final corner. He hasn't validated his lap time, unfortunately, so he won't be improving. What about KPP? He's coming through the final corner. Can he get up the field? He does move into P11, which is a really, really good position to be. The final car to cross the line is Harley. He goes into P10, which is not a good place to be. As Thomas sets the fastest lap. What a lap!
There you go. Alpine leaving it late, but his teammate also improved a little bit earlier on. But yeah, I did catch the back end of that Kian incident. I was on board with the with Jordan, I think it was. So it was unfortunate to see, and good to see that the tyres just in the middle of the road there, which could have played mayhem. But that is the end of the qualifying session, and that happened also quickly. It feels like we've just started. But again, apologies for the technical issues at the start. But yeah. Thomas in pole, Speed, Redmat in P2, Kian in 3rd, Vitinho in 4th, Hoffner in 5th, Jordan in 6th, Rogue in 7th, Rich, Cam and Harley round out the top 10, and free choice of tyre, providing it, I mean, it's going to be free choice of tyre for everyone if it rains, but if it's dry, Salty Bear, KPP, OKK, Specialist, Keys, Tech and Delta, all with free choice of tyre from 11th down, and I'm going to be very interested to see if any of them goes aggressive and goes soft from the back to see if they can stick with the leaders, or if someone's going to go more conservative, hard to come into the race a little bit later on.
Yeah, I've got to say one thing about the strategy, which I've found out in practice, is that really you should be starting on the soft compound tyres no matter where you are on the grid, because the softs, they just don't last at all. Like after lap 3, you're basically driving a speedboat, so I'd say if you're outside of the top 10, we should just get the softs out of the way and go for medium, because that's really the best race tyre by quite some distance, because the hards don't rubber in very well. But it will be definitely interesting to see which drivers will take the alternate strategy and go for a medium soft or a medium hard soft. Or to be honest, I don't really know what the alternate strategy is, because it's just not as quick as the main strategy.
Yes, it will be definitely interesting to find out which is the best strategy to be on alternate prime or option or whatever you want to call it. But while we have a moment, I would like to take this time to thank our sponsors here at One Hub Racing. Sponsors and partners, of course. I'll start with the sponsors. Next Level Racing sponsor the league by providing an Next Level Racing direct drive stand to our driver of the season, which is a new award here in One Hub. And 3M Sim Racing sponsor the league by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves to the driver with the most combined poles and fastest laps, I think that is. So I don't know what the situation is in this tier, but I know Pinnacle's pretty much silly sly guy all the time. But our partners here are Vespertin, who support our championship prizes, and ERT, who partner the ERT Going Get Stuff Forward, which is for all drivers that finish the season outside the top 3 that complete all their media obligations. Thank you for the wonderful work that everybody does, and of course the Taz guy, which makes it a lot much easier for us commentators to see who's got damage and how much damage and who's about to have a puncture, and see it makes us look a little bit more insightful. So thank you to all of those people, and let's just find out what the tyres are from the back. Everyone is on mediums from 11th down. I wouldn't quite expect that, but it can work.
Oh, and Salty Bear and KPP, both drivers starting in what is essentially a pole position if you're not actually in first place. They both took each other out in qualifying, and they've just killed off their start. They were the only drivers that could get ahead of the soft users here, so they've really sabotaged themselves here. And I've also noticed Vitinho, I caught that he's basically lost the traction and nearly binned it into the barrier already, heading off the line to the start of his formation lap. So, and the tyres, they overheat quite a lot, and you gain a lot of wear in the formation lap, so he's definitely not helping himself out here.
No, certainly not, but it's very difficult to get the tyres in the temperature window that you want, and the brakes also, you need to work on them as well, as several of us found out in the other tiers tonight. But I'm sure that it won't be an issue for these guys. But if it is, we'll see firsthand what happens, as the Red Bulls are looking quite handy. 10th and 13th, especially Okeke, he could play himself into a good position if he just keeps it nice and clean. Starting on the mediums, he could well be there at the end fighting for, I don't know, maybe, I don't want to say anything at this point because I don't like to be a commentator's curse anymore. But yeah, look out for, well, basically anyone on the mediums, especially 30th down towards the end of the race. If they can keep it clean, who knows where they may be in contention for tonight.
Yeah, well, I've got a question for you, Indecisive. Who do you think is going to take the win here today?
Oh, take the win. I mean, at the moment, I'd say the probably favourites are probably Thomas, or due to his season so far, you'd have to say Cam is another favourite. But I like to be proven wrong, and let's see which one of those can do that, or if anyone else wants to be up for the challenge. We're about to find out for the start, as everyone comes back to the grid. Almost certainly, as that's okay. Get disqualified at the end of the formation lap. That's a new one on me, but okay. We will take that, as Tech just comes into his grid slot now. And very shortly, we will be underway for 31 laps of the Singapore Grand Prix and the Marina circuit. And let's just see who gets away well at the lights. And my leaderboard has just decided to give me someone else in the lead. But there they are. The lights are on. 5 lights. And they're off. And away they go. Down into the run towards turn 1. And can Speed Mac get ahead of Thomas as he takes the lead? No, Thomas takes the lead and keeps it there. Kian in P3. Is he under pressure from anyone? Not really. There's a bit of argy-bargy between Vitinho and Kong. I think they've bumped wheels. I don't think there's been any damage. I don't see any debris or things falling off cars, but there's a little bit of wide there for Vitinho, who gets past Kong. I think he's led him through after the Jordan is now putting pressure under Cotton Kaufner. But Thomas seems to have had a pretty easy, straightforward getaway.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, so is the top 3 as well. They've already pulled a 2-second gap to P4 of Vitinho, so him spinning on the formation lap has not fared him very well. But look at these guys, they're all so close to each other. They're going side by side. Look at down in P11, they're all battling 3 wide. Oh, and Checker spun round, he spun round, so that's basically game over for him unless there's a safety car caused by him. But I also saw at the start of the race, Apex Rogue, he was spun round. I don't know whether it was self-inflicted or contact, but it's a real big shame for him, all the way down in 16th on fresh stuff. So he's got a mammoth challenge to get back into this race. But the top 3, they've gotten off so well.
Yes, you say the top 3 have got a great start there, and everyone else around them was battling through turn 1. But I don't know what happened to Rogue. I think it may have been self-inflicted, because again, I can't see any damage on that car, so it may have just been a little bit of over-exuberance at the start of a race on the soft tyres. Yeah, it's going to be difficult for him to pull anything back at the moment, but it is a long race round here. You just have to keep going, because you never know how many people ahead of you are about to find a wall at speed. But Vitinho is looking pretty handy now. He's got going in P4. He looked a little bit vulnerable at the start, but he's pulled out a bit of a lead, as my timing tower does what timing towers usually do, even though they're supposed to have fixed that, but they haven't, so it's a little bit difficult sometimes. But Kong Hoffner is just within a second of Vitinho, so the next lap around, when the DRS is in operation, you could well see some moves being done.
Yeah, and these are the crucial laps. These are probably going to be the most intense laps of the race, because this is basically, the pit window is open now. This is the final lap for the fresh users to have a grip and feeling in their tyres before they start to lose a lot of grip. So let's see if they can make the most of it. Is key. I believe he's made the move on KPP all the way down in P10, so he is the leading medium tyre runner right now, and he's gotten off really, really well. I don't believe he started in the top 13, so he's gotten off very, very well in the Alfa Romeo driver. But at the front of the grid, it looks like Thomas is in a bit of a league of his own here. Speed Red Matt, he's 8 tenths back, but he's now a second behind. So Thomas, he's proving to be the early man and the guy to be at the moment.
Yes, there's a little bit of contact with Threshers. He taps it back at KPP again. I didn't see any debris, but there is a yellow flag in sector 2, so I don't know what's happened there. It looks like someone at the back has just righted themselves as Delta and Tech swap positions, 16th and 17th position. But Okeke's doing quite well there, just in the middle, just playing along as most of these guys are doing now. And Apex Rogue is coming back through the field. He's now up to P14 after his start, and now make that P13 as Okeke just gets nicely out of the way. He knows he's on different tyres, so he's not going to fight at this stage, which fair enough, but Thomas is now through quickest at the front, and that will also activate the DRS. So there's a yellow flag. I'm not really sure why that's there in sector 3. I don't. There's a car backwards, I think.
It was there, yeah. He spun around.
Yeah, I said it at the moment. Yeah, he's done what Cam did in qualifying, I think, judging by the look of that. And Vitinho is in early for. Is that just tyres or is there wing as well?
Yeah, it's just with tyres. It's just with tyres. He wants to get an undercut because the undercut is just so strong around him. And Kieran, he's got such a good start. Harley in front of him, he's got a poor race. So Kieran, he could be making a move up into P7 on lap 3 already. He's gaining. He's using his DRS. He's using his DRS over the sector flags in sector 1 for whoever that is. But Harley, he moves a tiny bit under braking there, not enough to be penalised, but just enough to keep Kieran behind him and stays in P7 for another lap. But Kieran, he is absolutely flying right now. Oh, as Harley goes wide, actually, this could give Kieran an opportunity. No, it can't. He goes defensive. Kieran does have a cheeky look, maybe to distract him, but Harley, he's struggling so much on those soft tyres. They're obviously not suiting him very well. And Kieran, I can see him making the move before the end of this lap. He does have a look. Oh, he's going to go down the inside. And Harley, he leaves the room. He opted for the outside line to get the better run, and it seems to have worked for him. This guy's scrapping, but Harley, he's costing Kieran so much time right now. Yellow flags in sector 2. And this battle is just raging at the moment. And there's a virtual safety car.
Yeah, VSC, I'm not really sure. Oh, okay, Salty Bear's faced the wrong way there. He's gone a little bit deep into a corner. Has he got damage? I don't think so. I think some of these techs are going, I think he's just slow to the delta. That's fine. Don't see any damage there, so I think it's all, I mean, Thomas is going to take the opportunity under the VSC to pit onto the medium tyres, as does Red Matt, and Kian follows him in as well, but Thomas has just got a speed in the pit lane. That's not going to help his cause there, but I'd be surprised if that's the only one of the day. And I think all the soft runners are now filtering into the pit. Are there going to be any double stacks there? There may well be, but no, I don't think so, as the second Red Bull of a KK is still on medium, so that's a tyre everyone wants to be on now. So he's decided to stay out, which is fair enough, but Keys is now in the lead of this race. But of course the net leader would be Thomas, but he does have a 5-second penalty to serve later on. So how much will that affect him? Well, it remains to be seen really, but DRS is now enabled as the VSC is over, and Vitinho is just about into P10. I think he's just ahead of Rich there as he comes out. Yes, Vitinho up to P10, but Rogue decided to pit for mediums. He's back down to P15. Doesn't really have the tyre advantage now, so he's just got to be patient and pluck his way through the field.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Vitinho, he's got to be raging inside of his cockpit right now, because he had the undercut. He probably could have taken the provisional top 3 or even the lead if it wasn't for that virtual safety car, because he did have quite a decent outlap, I believe. So this has really harmed his race. He has lost quite a lot of positions, but as he says, Rogue, he's pitted into the median at the same time as these soft runners, and this has filtered him back technically into the race here, so this isn't going to be the last of Rogue. I know him from season 17 in the Prospector. He was one of the quicker drivers, so I wouldn't count him out just yet. We still got a long way to go.
Yes, we do, a long way to go. We say that a lot, but around here it really is a long way to go, of lap 4 of 31 around this grueling track, so you have to be razor sharp for quite a long time. And how will these drivers fare in the closing stages when it gets a little bit when the pressure's on, remains to be seen. But at the moment everyone is on medium tyres, and some people need to pit for their first stop. But is KPP going to try and move into turn 1? I don't think he's going to have quite the room into there to try and trouble Keys, but okay, Keys in now. I don't know if does he clip a wall or something, because that seems a strange time to pit if you're on the medium tyres. So he must have got damage, or he just fancies the hard tyres.
He straight lined the barrier in the tunnel section and just completely ruined his race.
That's unfortunate, but as we were saying, there's a full safety car. Is that for debris, or has there been another incident? Harley's out the race. That's what's happened there. I don't see what happened, but in the background you see a car just stationary, so he's obviously gone in a little bit too hot, and that could have gone well actually for OKK. He's coming out the pit lane, and he's just going to nestle on the back of the field with brand new tyres and brand new front wing. That could work out for him. Tech is just about in there now, but yeah, the real winner now is Delta, because Thomas has that penalty as we mentioned before, and that, if that could change it later on in the race. So Thomas will be a little bit frustrated that he's got to bridge a bigger gap than he would otherwise try to be, but around here you never really know how useful that gap could be.
Yeah, and I've got to say, these top 3 drivers who started on the mediums, they've just got their race has been completely shifted through this safety car. They probably don't know what to do right now. Whether they have to pit this lap. Speaking of KPP, he's got a penalty for track extending and under the safety car, so that's quite special. But yeah, these drivers, like, you have to pit if for the first safety car so early in the race, you have to get the first step out of the way. That's mandatory. But it depends what these guys, what tires they'll go on, whether they'll go into mediums and try for the medium soft, or do medium hards and do the usual strategy. So it's interesting, they all of them do pit this lap, and it depends what will the guys behind them do. Yeah, Thomas stays out, Delta, he pits this lap as well. So yeah, these guys who started on the mediums, their race has been turned on its head, and they're going to be going on to, Kieran goes on to the softs. So he's now looking to sit around, and he's looking to make positions up instantly. That's very brave from him.
That is brave. Maybe it could be a mistake as well, but we'll call it brave and see what happens come the end of the race. Whether it benefits him or not, we'll come back to that decision later. But yeah, it's definitely unfortunate for those that started on the mediums. They just haven't been able to gain the advantage that they otherwise would have done. But as you were pretty much now, as Thomas is back in lead one, everyone's done at least one stop. Of course, 2 stops are mandatory here in one hub racing, and of course we had someone disqualified for that last week in the Pinnacle tier, so that was a shame for them, but it does happen still, unfortunately, but hopefully not tonight.
Yeah, shame for that driver in the Pinnacle tier. Glory for me, because I gained a free position off of it. So, you know, wins and loses, but it depends whether this could be this is a huge gamble for Kieran, whether this is a win or a loss for him, we're yet to see. But I believe the drivers behind him, and okay, he's spun again, or he's made a mistake on the safety car. I believe that was in sector 1. He's completely off the track, so I wonder what he's done to end up in that position. But you also see Dauta, he also went on to fresh softs as well, down in P13. So I don't know what these drivers are thinking. You know, they obviously know more than I do, and maybe they're going to cause a bit of carnage here and cause a bit of entertainment making their way through the field. It depends. How many positions do you think they can gain?
Well, it makes me think maybe some of them have gone to softs just to get them out of the way, so they can maybe put the hards on and try and go to the end, because that would be 2 mandatory stops served under the safety car. It's a little bit of a wacky strategy, but I've seen it work before, and it could well work tonight. That's what I would be trying at this point anyway, if I was in this position. But of course, by lap 6, I think I was out the race by corner 6, to be honest. But that was a shame for me, but that was early on in prospect, and this is now. I think if I was out there now, I would definitely, if I was Delta, I would put the hards on to the end, because that's 2 stops done. But if I was Keys, I'd stick with the leaders, so I think you split between them. But it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, also another thing to think about here is Tech. He's done his mandatory 2 pit stops, and he's on the hard tyres, so he's looking to go to the end of this race here. Whether that'll, I believe there'll be another safety car here. So, oh, and Kieran, he's pitted in as well, and so has Delta. So they've definitely decided to go to the end and pit for some hard. So this is definitely risky, because the safety car is going to come in this lap. I believe it's been out for 2 laps now, and this is its 3rd lap. So they are going to have to push a bit to warm up their tyres and catch up to the pack of this queue. I believe that's a wing change for Dauta actually, so I think he made a bit of contact with somebody.
Yeah, well, luckily for him, the safety car will have slowed everyone down, so it doesn't really cost him all that much in terms of positions, and they will be able to safely rejoin at the back of the field there. With the safety car not that far around the lap, they will catch this comfortably. But I think you're right, it's probably going to be safety car in this lap. You'll see that. Not quite yet, but I think at some point around this lap these lights will go off as we are on board with Thomas, just to see that moment happen. I am keeping an eye on the minimap, but I'm pretty sure those cars at the back will catch this tier, especially at the end when they slow up even more. When the safety car decides that it's time to go off, you back off, and then you catch at the back of the field, and hopefully by then your tyres are nice and warm.
Yeah, and I've got to say, the drivers that went onto the hards, they've definitely got a mission to get their tyres warm before the start of the green flags. My mistake for missing my words there, but it does take hards. It does take around 6-7 laps for it to get into optimal temperature and be able to keep up with the medium. So they're going to have to push, but they're also going to have to stay safe because this is a very slippery circuit, and one mistake, your race is over because the barriers are so close to each other.
Yes, they certainly are. We're quite used to that here, and there we go. Safety car is indeed in this lap, but barriers being close is something that some of these drivers like, especially a couple of weeks ago when they did Hungary. One of the drivers in the press conference, I can't remember which one, it said that it likes them close because every mistake is punished, and of course, hopefully that didn't mean he making a mistake, but of course we are going to get underway again very shortly, and it will be lap 8 of 31 around this long, grueling, difficult, masterful track. And the safety car is now in the pit lane. When does Thomas go? He's gone early, I think. He's caught everybody. Oh no, he's gone too early, and he's lucky that he didn't knock a wheel off there, but he's going to have to make a stop, and he's definitely going to have a long afternoon now trying to get any points at all.
Oh, he's got to be absolutely raging. I've seen that mistake done so many times. He's just gone to the throttle too early. He tried to catch Redmat off guard, and he did catch Redmat off guard, to be fair, but the tyres just didn't agree with him, and he completely lost in the final corner. It's such a shame for him because he's had so much pace. He gained 3 seconds in the first 10, but he's got a mammoth of a competition now to get back up to where he deserves to be. But back at the front of the grid, it doesn't seem like there's much movement going on here. All these guys have just decided to chill behind each other. Don't really want to make any moves just yet.
Well, that seems to be the case, but you can see there comfortably that Speed Redmat is definitely the winner in that situation. Unfortunately, Thomas is a big loser, unfortunately, and how much has he got a little bit of damage. I'm not sure how much that front ring is missing because it's all black, but he's going to probably be in to change it. Probably go to the hard tyres, which is, I was going to say, he's already on hards, but he's not. That would be Delta ahead of him, and the 2 cars ahead of him are on the hard, so that it's a good job they didn't crash, because what would they go to now? They'd have to go back to the mediums, I suppose, but luckily for Thomas, he's got that option if he wants it. I'm sure he'll take it, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of points still to win in this race.
Yeah, and these top 4 drivers, they seem to have pulled a gap among each other, 1 second each, but battle for P5 right now. Jordan, I think this is probably going to be the next move we're going to see, because Jordan just seems to be able to carry so much more pace. As he picks up a 3-second time penalty, that's not going to help his cause, but he just seems to have so much more pace compared to Rich at the moment. He's practically pushing him through the corners, so I expect to see a move as soon as we go into the second straight, depending on the exit Jordan can get here. We'll just have to wait and see, but there's also Apex Rogue right behind him, and Cam, who is right behind him as well, so we have a 4-car battle right now for P5. This will definitely be interesting. What kind of exit did Jordan Rich get compared to Rich? It doesn't seem like he's been able to get much of a good exit there, and he's going to have to stay behind Rich for another lap.
Yes, it looks like he's not been able to force our way through yet, but all you got to do is try to keep the pressure on the car in front and try to make them make a mistake. As thank you for joining us in the chat, as you do every week here in this community. It's fantastic to see you all out there watching. I hope you're enjoying this race as much as we are here in the box, but this battle between Rich and Jordan is really heating up. Now, can he force a way through by the end of the lap, or is he just going to wait to try and force a way through into turn 1 by taking the slightly wider line? But he's got a good exit, but of course no DRS because we've had a full safety car, so that's probably the opportunity that would have been there, but he's gone for it anyway. They've touched a little bit off there, but there's just about enough room for them to both get by, and it's as you were as KPP gets track limits. But Cam is behind that battle too, as well as Rogue.
Yeah, and just I saw Jordan, he went for the wide approach and got a little bit of a switchback on Rich, which was very smart from him to get the much better exit. He was a bit optimistic there to go for a move, and there's another safety car, so I wonder who's been there. I think it's was KPP. He's made him always out of the race. That's a shame for him, because he also had a lot of pace.
He was looking handy, yeah. I saw him in the background as a couple of cars went past. I'm not really sure what happened. I think he may have just, all you have to do around here is just clip a wall at the wrong angle and your wheel's off. So unfortunately for him, it looks like it's happened. But another safety car. Remember, of course, safety cars do sometimes breed safety cars, and unfortunately for some of these drivers, that's happened tonight. But fortunately for others, the same thing's happened for them. And I'll let you decide who's fortunate and who's unlucky about the safety cars in this instance.
Yeah, I've got to say, these drivers right now in the mediums, I'm very sure they have to pit. And the drivers who went onto the hards, they are absolutely cheering right now because they might have had a bit of a masterclass here. There's 4 drivers on the hards, and Thomas, his race has definitely been saved. I knew there was going to be another safety car to come out. I didn't expect it to be this soon, but looks like we've definitely got a race on our hands here now. But these guys, all the medium runners, they seem to want to stay out, so they don't want to opt in and go for the hard to the end of the race. They want to stick out and see if they can pull a gap to the hard runners.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was on the mediums, I'd definitely be considering switching to the hards at this point under the safety car. It's probably the best thing to do, but there's probably a reason why I'm also not out there racing right now. But we'll see. Some of them may pit, some of them probably won't, but I'm on board to see exactly which ones do and don't, and I cannot wait for the rest of this race. It's spicing up just nicely, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, 100%, and I've got to say, I didn't expect Kong to be in the top 2 right now. He's battling for the win at the moment, and here comes Speed Redmat. Oh, he got me there. I thought he was going to go into the pit lane, but he's dummied him. He's dummied Kong, but Kong didn't fall for it, neither did Kian, so... But we do have someone who is going into the pits right now. We have Rich who's heading into the pit lane, and we have Vitinho who's heading into the pit lane as well. I do think mediums can go to the end of the race from here, but I am seeing hard tyres in these boxes right now.
Yes, it would be easier to get the mediums to the end, especially with the aid of the safety car, but I wouldn't want to chance it, especially with just the way my luck is at the moment. I'd just be confident just to do my thing, get the heart, and see how many points I can steal today. Especially if I'm not feeling like I'm on the pace, like some of these guys may not be, but this race just got interesting, folks, so stay right here. If you would like to see the end of this race, then please do join us, because this is going to be an exciting battle, and we are far from finished.
Yeah, and it's crazy as well, because at this point in time, I genuinely don't know who could come out on top of this race. So when this Kong, he's weaving there, I thought he was losing the car, but it's crazy. So many drivers could win this race at the moment. I genuinely thought this was going to be a Thomas masterclass here, but he's all the way down in P14, and we only have 5 cars left on the medium compound, so these guys are going to have to work together to try and pull away from the hard runners whilst they have to try and warm up their tyres. They have about 7 laps to do so, but their tyres definitely will start to fade off and die around 11, 10 laps in, so these guys, it's going to be really, really interesting.
It really is, especially with this safety car. Does that extend the window, or does that narrow the window to try and stay out there on the mediums for as long as possible? It's going to be interesting to find out, but at the moment, I'd say in the box it is definitely Aero Tech and Keys F1. I don't know about you, but if I was Cam, I'd just stick with the leaders, because all I have to do is just finish ahead of my rivals, which at the moment it looks like he's doing quite nicely, but let me just check who they are at the moment. Yeah, one of his rivals is leading the race, but it still wouldn't be enough to overhaul him, I don't think, on points, so it's going to be tight if he finishes where he is. He's just going to do what he does, like try and take an Alan Prost approach. Just do what you need to, rather than chasing for an extra position when you don't need to. But funny things happen when the adrenaline's pumping, doesn't it?
100%. And honestly, I wonder if these guys, if they'll fight each other. I believe this is going to be the final lap of the safety car. They're all warming up their tyres. They're definitely not taking the same line as each other. They don't want to accidentally hit into the back of one another, but yeah, we do have the top 5. They're all on mediums, and we have the top. We have 6th to 9th. They're all on worn hards, and we have 10th below. Bar Thomas, they're all on fresh hards. So if we're talking about going to the end of the race without another safety car, I'd say these guys, Vitinho, he's in for the win of this race here. If he can get the overtakes done, of course, worn tires, you do lose quite a lot of pace. So having a 5-lap advantage, 6-lap advantage, is going to be absolutely pivotal.
It certainly is, and it depends on when the safety car comes in. Of course, it looks likely that it's going to be this lap, but I've seen this game and the safety car decide that not to do what it's supposed to do before. But while we have a moment, Vitinho was the victim to the driver's press conference this week, and he was asked about last week. He kept it clean enough to register a top 6 finish, but I was being a little bit cheeky with him because I heard he was a little bit unhappy with the question, so I asked if he found this question more to his standards. He did reply top 6 was cool, but he should have finished higher. He did mistake and lost positions. He did reply, I think, a little bit of sarcasm that only goated questions here. I'm like, yeah, it is, but do you think that's fair?
I think it's very fair, but the safety car it's coming in this lap time. We're going take number 3 for Green Flag Racing here, and hopefully Speed Redman, he doesn't make the same mistake as his rival Thomas did. He is warming up his tyre, so hopefully he doesn't wheel spin and lose it in the final corner. And that beautiful green Aston Martin safety car is pulling away into the distance, heading back into the pit lane. It is Redman's job to back up the pack. I wonder whether he'll try to catch Kong off guard in this section of track, or whether he'll go to the checkered flag line. And he's gone very, very early. Safety car's not even fully gone in yet. 5-second time penalty for Apex Rogue, but that is not going to matter to Redman, who's gotten away brilliantly. 6/10 gap already. Any side-by-side action going on here? Not really. And once again, we're seeing the same story here. These guys, they're all just being really mature about it and just keeping their own gaps. But beautiful getaway from Speed Redman.
Yeah, that was an absolutely textbook restart from the leader, and he learned from the mistakes of Thomas on the previous line as Raul goes in for a front wing change. And I'm pretty sure that at this moment in time, some of these drivers will be wanting the ground to swallow them, but unfortunately at this time it's also likely that if that happens, they might not be able to capitalise on any mistakes later on. So just got to stick with it and see what happens. If it's not your day, it's not your day. But at the moment, that was a very good restart. He's already opened up a second lead on the same tyres as those behind him, who are pretty much holding each other up, and that's putting Aero and Tech back into this thing already.
Yeah, and speaking of Aero, he's gotten away really well under the safety car restart. Still within the DRS of Cam, which is crucial for him because he's already pulled such a gap to Tech already that he's basically safe from any sort of attack from him. But whether he'll be able to keep this pace up consistently as the mediums get back up to temperature, we don't know. But he's gotten away really well. And there's more yellow flags. That's Apex Rogue. He's made a mistake. He's reversing on the track right now. But there's quite a huge battle going on for P8 here between at least 5-6 cars. So Delta, he hasn't seemed to have gotten away very well, but hopefully he'll be able to defend himself with Vitinho on those much fresher hards he's going to be charging.
Yeah, so this specific one we have, I think, 2 races going on, and that's awesome to see. You've got a massive train from the midfield down towards the back, and of course you have the 4 or 5 cars at the front battling for the on-track lead. But of course the net lead is Tech, who's the first of the 2 stop runners, so everyone 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd and 1st need to pit again, and we'll see if they will get lucky later on with another safety car, or if they'll be able to open up a gap all on their own.
Yeah, and speaking of opening up a gap, it's more of a LMP1 versus LMP2 situation going on here between the top 7 and the top 8. Doesn't seem like Vitinho has gotten much of a good run to be able to mount an attack on Delta at the moment. They're all keeping the same gap between each other, but I've got to say, these Alfa Romeos, they are running a really, really good race right now, 6th and 7th, but the drivers that are running an even better race right now are the 2 Williams drivers, 4th and 5th. I wonder if we'll see any sort of team orders going on here between Aero, because he's going to be going to the end of the race here. And there's more yellow flags in sector 2, and someone else has been there, and oh no, I've cursed him. Kieran, he spun round in the middle sector. That's such a shame for him because he was running so well.
Yeah, he was, but I hope he doesn't watch this back, because he'll be knocking on your door in the paddock next week. But anyway, has Thomas lost a front wing, or is he just the side of the Alpine that makes it look like that? It just looked like he lost a wing, but I think he's okay there. I mean, I don't have TAS available to me at the moment, unfortunately. It's having issues, but I'm not sure why or anything, but we'll get back on that. It looks like it's probably just the style of the front wing, which confused me and my old eyes, tricking me. But anyway, DRS is now re-enabled again, and there's a little bit of a train there. As you can see, Delta Vitinho, Richard, Jordan and Salty Bear all pretty much close together, and hopefully one of them can find the use of the ERS as Cam gets a little bit of a gap on Aero there, so he's latching onto the battle in front and sort of dropping Aero, but I think he's got ERS as well. Yes, he does, so that's a DRS, I should say, not ERS, so they all have ERS available to them.
Here comes Vitinho. He's about to make a move down the inside of Allard Delta. They're going to go side by side. Delta, he's not left him any room at all on the inside. That was very cheeky from Delta, but I'm sure that's within regulation. Here comes Jordan around the outside of Rich 500. What a move. And here comes Soto, but he's going to try capitalize on this. And he's also made the move stick as well. Rich has had an awful sequence of 4 corners there. He's lost about 2-3 positions. But that was an absolutely beautiful move from Jordan there to make a move around the outside. Absolutely stunning.
Yes, and it seems we have another yellow flag. I think that Rogue is having issues. Let's just check. Yes, it is. It was him recovering from a spin of sorts. But let's get back to that battle. That was just a thing of beauty. It's not finished yet. Delta, Vitinho touch wheels. And that opens the door for Jordan to try and get through the inside as the VSC comes just at the... I'd say the wrong time, but it's the right time as he's got 1 position. He was looking for 2. Is Delta retired on track? If he has, then that's not the smartest thing to do, and that's Keys is well. When your luck's out, your luck is out.
Just realised I'm gonna have to go and host a tier of my own here, but it's been a really good experience getting back into the commentary box. But I'm going to have to leave it into your very capable hands. Thank you for having me, and I've got a race to host. See ya.
Okay, no problem. Good luck in your race, and I hope it goes better than mine. Now, Cam is at the lead, which is surprising considering where he was a few laps ago. As I took the eye off the ball for a second, but Tech Racing is going to capitalise on any kind of... Oh dear, Keys has got a 5-second penalty of speeding in the pit lane there, so that's not ideal. And speeding under the virtual safety car, that's a drive-through. That's really going to hamper his race. And Aero just... You can hear that sigh from Aero's helmet there as I go on board with him. It looks visibly frustrated. There's a lot of penalties going on. I don't even know if they realise that there's quite a couple of drive-throughs there and some... Oh man, this race has just got very, very messy, and Cam is rubbing his hands together. Well, not literally, he's got his hands on a wheel, but if he could, he'd be rubbing his hands together as he's just controlling this race now, and all he has to do is just keep going at his pace. Most of the drivers in contention behind him have penalties at this stage, but we are just about halfway through this race, which means of course there is 50% of the race still to go, but Cam is holding his own there, but he's the only one who needs to do another stop. I think everyone else has done 2, have they? Let's find out. Yes, everyone else has done at least 2 stops, so Cam is the only one to not go to the pit lane for a second time. Now, how far can he take the mediums is really what we should be asking, but let's have a look at Salty Bear, who seems to be falling off the back a little bit of Jordan, who seems to be just holding his own against Vitinho for the final step of the podium, but of course there is a long way still to go. Now we have Kong Hoffner, who's just doing, just doing his own thing. Aero's in the pits again. Thomas Rogue there at the back, he's kept it at the wall this time, that's good for him. And let's see, I think this is the battle to watch. We got Jordan and Salty Bear there with Vitinho for this final battle for the final battle. The battle for the final podium slot at this stage is between these 3 drivers, but it could very well change with the turn of a wheel. So we'll have to keep our eyes on every position as we can. But the minimap all green so far, so that's good. No one's having any issues around any of the corners at the moment, but of course it might still happen. As we have more technical issues on my end, but I think I'm still live. Let's just double check. Yes, I'm still live. Sorry about that. I thought it did it again, but Rich is let's just see, Jordan is pressuring Vitinho every chance to get. Of course he did speed earlier on, so I'm not sure. Let's just check that actually. Does he still have a penalty to serve? No, he doesn't. He served that, so that'll be good for him. Now he can just fight for any position he can get is a bonus. Cam's gone round again, has he? Yes, he has. I'm getting all discombobulated. I'm so excited for this race. Let's have a look at Red Matt. He's gaining on Rich, and he's quickest man out there. Look at that, a 39.1. That's comfortably ahead of everyone. Let's have a look and see if I can find fastest lap, 39.1. That's absolutely smashed the pace of everyone else at the moment. But of course, talking of fastest lap, let's go now to Thomas, who smashed that again. And of course, we have fastest lap points inside and outside the top 10. So if Thomas would finish 11th, which is not altogether unreasonable at this stage, he could still get a point for that by being fastest overall. But of course, at the moment, that fastest lap point would go to Aero for being outside the top 10 and inside for there. But of course, there's a long way to go before we even need to think about that. And of course, you know, who's having a good solid race? You know, it's quite a thing. You don't really know. Speed Red Matt is just doing his what he can to get back into this race, but Jordan is now looking very promising in a very good situation. All of a sudden, the safety car has changed the race for him. But that's Rogue being lapped there, so that's not a battle for there. Rogue has yet another front wing fallen off, so that's miserable day for him, just getting a little bit worse, but he's still in the points as it stands. So just keep going, and you never know what you're going to get from the rest of the day. Let's have a look at Salty Bear, who seems to be the closest out of anybody to anyone else. You have yeah, a good battle there as Thomas has just overtaken Kian as he goes in the pit lane, so that's why that happened. But yep, two more cars in the pits, and let's see how far Cam can go on these. Is he going to try and do a soft stint at the end, or is he just gambling on another safety car late, as he seems to be building a slight gap now, so he can have a bit of a thing for himself, just to get that confidence up that he can come through the field the way he has today. But it looks as though he may have made a tactical error by not pitting under the safety car. Turns out he hasn't, and now he could well be controlling this race as much as he wants to, so that is good for him. But of course, there's still a long way to go to find out if that is the case. There's a good battle here. Speed Red Matt is now on the back of Jordan, who himself is on the back of Vitinho once again, so it's back to a three-way battle for the final position on the podium. But there is still a 3-second time penalty there for Kong Hoffner, who is not having the worst race. Is P8, so that could yeah, that's just the one that's just the one penalty there, so that's not going to ruin his race too much. But we have lost Harley, KPP, OKK. When did we lose OKK? I didn't even see that happen. I'm sorry. Delta and Keys we've lost as well, so that's always good to see people driving out there. But I'm so sorry, in all the excitement and all the battles for the lead, I'm completely missed that OKK had retired. I feel bad for him. He's not had the best of times, but he's still going, so bless him. He's brilliant, you know, just always a little bit of a waggle for the DRS there as the Speed Red Matt goes through and just says thank you very much. I guess that's what that was about. But yeah, now we can get after Vitinho and see if he can force his way through into third place. But they're still, there we go, the move is being done there, of course. Oh yeah, they are teammates, of course, so that's probably team orders to let him through. Hadn't even twigged that they were both in the same car till now, so way to pay attention, commentator. And we are on lap 20 of 31, so we are getting through the laps, and Aero's in the pits yet again. What's that, 4 now? No, he's on 3, but yeah, it's definitely quite a wall of attrition this race. Cam's just chilling out in front. Tech in second place. We'll assume the lead when Cam pits again. and Speedrun Matt is looking to capitalise on any mistakes that any of them two make. So this race is nowhere near over yet, and this is how we like it here in One Hub Racing. As Cam now does pit, as I mentioned it, so let's see where he comes out. He's going to come out, well, not in the lead, but I don't know where exactly. He hasn't made his stop yet. He's not at his box. He's now getting there, so I think he may come out in the top 10. I'm pretty sure of that. But where's Kian? Is he going to... Will it be P9? I'm wondering if Kian's got enough time to get past. I think... No, it's going to be P9 for Cam as he comes out the pit lane there. Be careful not to cross the white line or pit exit. It's a very tricky pit exit. There's a bit of a wall that juts out, and may or may not have hit it earlier. But Cam, P9, he's looking good for a strong result today all of a sudden. He's doing quite well, and again, it looked like a bit of a tactical error earlier when he didn't pit onto the safety car, but what do I know? But let's just have a quick look at the helicopter cam, and it's gone again as soon as you realise it's there. Let's just see who's going to make the next move. Jordan is on the back of Vitinho still, but not quite close enough to try anything, as Vitinho is now surely being a wingman to Speed Red Matt to try and get him a little bit further up the road to try and get him some more points. It's going to be quite fascinating to see how long Vitinho can keep Jordan behind him. Or if indeed Jordan just wants to stay behind him. He wouldn't want to. He's got a penalty. He needs to open the gap. But if he can't get past Vitinho, then that's good for Speed Red Matt, of course. How would that impact the standings? Let's have a look and do some quick maths as I have them here. That would be... Yeah, at this point that's very close for the standings. That would give us a new championship leader of Red Matt if positions stayed the same. But of course, Tech Racing is doing phenomenal out in front. But of course, yeah, 3 seconds. Of course, he needs to find a little bit more time. Otherwise, Speed Red Matt will win the race, and that is a yellow flag. Or what's happened there at the back? There's a red. Is that Rob again in the pit lane? Yeah. Okay. He's I think he's decided that he can't take any more incidents, which is unfortunate. But I can't say I blame him. He's had a bit of a miserable afternoon, and thankfully for him, it's come to an end now. But we still have 11 runners, and our specialist is now... Oh, what happened to Vitinho there? Well, whatever happened, he's just now suddenly dropped back to P9. I'm not sure if there was a disconnect or a lag spike or anything, but he doesn't seem to be even in the session anymore. His car's ghosted, so I don't know what's happened there, but that's probably a sigh of relief for Jordan, who's now free to just try and open the gap on Hoffner, who's on fresher tyres, but excuse me, the hards will go to the end, and the mediums may or may not, depending on how hard he has to push them. So it's going to be interesting to see whose tyres degrade first. The 10-lap hard, they should just get better and better as they go, and the mediums have a limited range. They'll still be usable, but towards the end they are going to be slower. So if Con can't get past in the next 2 laps, I think that's probably going to be the barring any unforeseen circumstances, that will probably be the order that they finish. But I'm always here to see what else can happen. And Thomas and Salty Bear, that is a great line for Thomas as he comes out of the corner. And can he make it good on the DRS opening? Yes, he can. He goes down the inside. Yeah, inside. There we go. And that's a position for Thomas. And oh no, Salty Bear's had a spin. I don't think there's contact. I think he just opened the throttle a little bit too much there. I could be wrong on that. I didn't see any contact, didn't hear any, but Vitinho was definitely disconnected from the session, so that is unfortunately for him. And there we go, he's back now. He'll be livid that he's down in P9. He was in P2 or P3 about a lap ago, and now he's down in P9. Yellow flag, sector 2. Don't even want to know what that's for. It's kind of ruining the battling. Come on. Yellow flags here, the yellow flags there. There's yellow flags everywhere. Speed Red Mat and Tech are going to town here, and Salty Bear's 5-second penalty for corner cutting. What are you up to, lad? But anyhow, it's been an absolutely sensational race, and it's not over yet as Tech. I don't know if he was dumming that he was going to go in the pits there or not, but Red Mat was never going to pit anyway, so it's pointless. And he knows he's beaten, so he's just going to go to the inside, and not enough room there for Speed Red Mat to make the move. He just couldn't turn in. He didn't have the room all the time. But Tech Racing for now keeps his provisional race win intact, but there's a lot of defending still to do for the final 8 or so laps of this race that remain. A little bit of DRS. Now he's going to go defensive, goes to the other side to take his line back into the corner, and Speed Red Mat cannot find a way through there either. He's got a few more laps to keep up the pressure though, and see what happens as Salty Bear speeds in the pit lane. That could be enough to break it. There you go. Yep, retires in the pit lane, and we're down to 10 runners now, so you might as well have just carried on, because you could have got an extra point for being outside the top 10 for fastest lap, but never mind. Now there's points for everyone that finishes. We are down to 10 runners, and this is definitely going to be one of the old races we look at the end of the season. I think this is where the championship could have swung in one direction, but at the moment Cam is doing just enough to keep his championship lead, but Red Mat is pushing hard, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. If Cam gets another couple of positions, then he'll be comfortable, but if he stays where he is, it's going to be very, very close going to next week, which is Belgium. So that's going to be interesting. And Vitinho is now out of the race. What's happened? Is there going to be a safety car for that too? Where's he? Okay, I see what happened. I think he's just... Okay, that's an unusual one. Down to 9, and no safety car there, so we are free to go race it once again, as Tech has a little bit of a reprieve from the defence that he's been doing against Red Mat. And I'm just checking all the gaps. I think this is probably going to be the battle that once Red Mat gets the move done, which looks like he's done now. Can he come back under braking? And just about managed to get enough traction to turn in there, but Tech is not giving up yet. He's going to sit in the slipstream of Red Mat and just see if we can drag him around. Now second, third and fourth all have penalties, so can this play into Cam? At the moment Cam could gain a position maybe, but he's about just under the 5-second window that Thomas has for that speeding in the pit lane. I think it was earlier. I can't remember if that was the case or not, but I think it was. Everyone's definitely done at least 2 stops, so that's good to see that everyone that the finishes will be classified, providing any stewards inquiries, and not sure there will be many, to be honest. I haven't seen many incidents today. There's been a little bit of wheel banging, but nothing I'd say that's over the limit, which is fair enough, and that's always what you see, fair but firm racing. And Red Mat is just cruising now. He's got through, he's just pulling away. Of course he'd be anxious to know how he can go wrong. I've seen Thomas put the power down a little bit too early after the first safety car restart, which spun him out and lost a wing, but he's recovered quite nicely to P4 all of a sudden. And of course he does have Cam for company, which will probably jump him if the race finished now with the penalties that there is to go. But I'm still quite entertained by this one, and there's still quite a lot to fight for. Of course the beauty of this league is every corner matters, and usually I'd be trying to hype up the people at the back, but there aren't anyone at the back. We've only got 9 runners left, so you know, let's check in on... Yeah, this race is petering out a little bit, so we're going to need some unexpected rain to spice it up a little bit. But I think there's a yellow flag. Don't scare me like that. What's the yellow flag for? Sector 3. I'm looking on the map. There's a blue, there's arrow going slowly, I think. How much damage has he got? Has he got damage? Is he going to retire in the pit lane as well, or is he just going to stick at it? Because he's come this far, he might as well stick at it. Oh dear. Oh, excuse me there. Sorry about that. Let's get back at it. I think he's just going to stick at it, which is good for him. Let's look at the progress of Cam. He's closing up a little bit on Thomas every lap, and I think in a couple of laps he could well be there fighting on track for position himself. So it's going to be good to see. And we have Thomas there, who's a little bit behind Kong Hoffner, who's holding his own in third place, but he's going to be under increasing pressure now, with Thomas gaining on him and Cam gaining on Thomas even further. So Tech's not out of this one yet. He's still got some defending to do, but there's two cars right behind him now. As you can see there in the background, you have Kong and Thomas. I nearly said Cam, but he's not there, but he's going to be in contention after penalties, of course. But let's just see how this race has had pretty much everything. I think the only thing it hasn't had so far is rain, and I think it's going to be far too late now for it to matter. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Oh. Excuse me a second, I'm just checking something. Okay. Just had to check about drivers of the day. I'm nominated 2 this week, as obviously I'm here by myself now for the rest of this race. And I'll just want to say thank you to Dane Starr for his assistance earlier. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, it's very much enjoyable. But now we're down the busiest end of the race. There's not much left to do but see if Kong can get past Tech. Can Tech defend his P2? Can this help Thomas? And Cam is gaining 2. This race has just got even more exciting, as you've got a 4-car train for 2nd and 3rd and 4th, and I guess technically 5th as well. Cam doesn't have to pass any of these though, but he's going to want to, just for personal pride, and you never know what's going to happen in the next race, so you have to maximise your points as you can. And Thomas yeah, Kong is in P3 now. Thomas is not, and there's a little bit of contact there between Thomas and Kong. I don't know who is to blame for that, but Cam doesn't care. He's up into P3 and he's chasing after Tech for P2, and that's not what Red Matt wanted to see in terms of the championship. And now it doesn't matter what happens for Speed Red Matt. He can win by a lap and still, you know, not be in the championship league. Cam is got to be loving life right about now, but Tech is not giving up yet. He's behind now, but Thomas and Kong, I don't know what happened there, but there's definitely been some sort of contact. I don't know if it was a side pod glitch or what, but maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe there will be one thing for the stewards to look at from this tier, of course. It's going to be very tricky to find out at this stage, but it definitely looked like a very minimal incident with maximum impact for both of them, which is always a shame. But Cam's just chilling now in P2. He's dropped Tech, who's on the very much used hard tyres. Cam's pit stop was done at a perfect time, and I think that's pretty much going to be your top 2, barring any unforeseen circumstances. But can Kong gain arrows? There you go. Fastest lap, 0.2 arrow there in P9 at the moment, but can he be beaten? Probably not, as everyone's on a harder tyre. But that was very close there for Kong for hitting the wall. Yeah, that could have ended in tears for him. Once went to a wedding that was so emotional, even the cake was in tears. I do apologise for that. But talking of tears, this is the, what tier are we? Yeah, we're the podium tier, I think. We're one of them. Where are we? I've forgotten now. Yeah, podium. I thought so. Anyway, Kong Hoffner just got past Thomas there. Has Thomas got damage there, or is it just my old eyes playing tricks on me with the front wing looking like it's broken, but it's not broken? Jordan's in the pit lane. Let's have a look at Helicam while we have this, and you have ER Thomas just in the background there of Kong. This is probably going to be the only battle we have for the remaining 3 laps, which is fine by some of these drivers. They're just going to do what they can, and ERT Jordan might want a bit of the fastest lap pie there in P8, so we'll go on board with him a little bit later to see if he can actually do this. But for now, we're going to stay here on this battle between Thomas and Kong Hoffner, who actually Thomas just seems to have dropped way back all of a sudden since I started watching them. Oh, he's saving ERS. That's a clever thing to do. Yes. Save a bit of ERS and come back at your opponent in a little bit. Yeah. Let's go. This race is on for them. But Jordan is out on brand new softs, and Specialist is also on softs. So it's going to be between those two as to who gets the fastest lap of this race, I think. But the championship leaders won't mind. They're taking points off each other there. For a maximum of 21 points you can get, which is with the win and the fastest lap of the race, and that's a little bit wide for Thomas, who's trying to get a little bit more speed to get after Kong Hoffner there for the extra position. But I think his race may well be run. I think he's just, unless Tech has an issue, his tyres are getting up there, 24 lap old. They're going to have to do another 2 to successfully complete the race, but for now, all money points towards Tech holding on for that final podium position, especially with Thomas's 5-second penalty in relation to Kong and Tech's 3, but that's not going to change anything. Neither is any of the penalties today on track. Whoever's got a penalty and gets ahead will stay ahead, unless of course Kong gets ahead of Tech. No, Thomas gets ahead of Kong, sorry, my apologies for that. I'm so excited, I'm mixing up drivers here. As Tech rides the curb a little bit closely there, and his car bottoms out a little bit, and you see the sparks fly, but I don't think there's been any damage done. But Kong is all about trying to get on that podium, just to have one final check. It is definitely a race for the podium. Whoever finishes ahead will stay on the podium, unless they push a little bit too hard and get another 3-second penalty in the closing stages. We are on lap 30 of 31 laps here, and let's see, the leader's about to start the final lap, about a sector ahead of third and fourth, who nearly collide there with a little bit of a lift there. But Kong Hoffner is smelling this podium, as is Tech, and this could well be a very close to the finish line, as Tech gets a little bit of a better exit out there, and they are now approaching the final lap as well as the leaders. And Aero, that doesn't change anything here, that's more down the bottom. But what about Jordan? Is he on a quick lap? No, you know what? Let's just see this, because something could happen between Kong and Tech. Tech would love it if he could stay ahead. Kong would love it if he can steal ahead at the death. But he's only got about half a lap to do it, and let's a little bit of change. And you got Jordan, I think, is about to crash out of the race, seeking the fastest lap of the race. And I know exactly what he's done there. He's done, I think, similar to what Cam did in quali and what several others have done in the race, but unfortunately for him, that ends his fastest lap bid. So that is going to be officially Aero's fastest lap point there for 9th place. So that would net him 5 in total, which is not a bad haul at all. Where is he in the standings anyway? He's okay, he could jump a driver, but let's go on board with the soon-to-be, well, I'm not going to say anything, a little bit of lag there, but I think we're okay. Speed Red Mat is coming around the final corner, and there we go. He's negotiated, he started to celebrate a little bit early, but he crosses the line to win the Singapore Grand Prix. But Cam has had a great drive today, he's recovered quite well, and he finishes in 2nd place. And of course, we are now back to the final battle for the final step of the podium, and I think it's going to be Kong, as Tech hits the wall, and I think he may well have lost a bit of front wing, and he's definitely lost a bit of wing there. But can Thomas catch him, in fact? No, I think Kong's going to keep the 3rd. I think Tech's going to keep 4th just, but Thomas is yeah, he's going to get that penalty, which drops him all the way down to P7. If that was a unjustified penalty, I'm sure he'll get that removed, as he never served it. We'll see what the stewards have to say about that one next week. We will have the official results, but this has been quite an entertaining battle. We finished with 8 cars, but it's been really good. I have to tip my hat to a lot of the guys out there who have driven really well and superbly, so thank you for all the battles that you've shown us tonight, and I hope I've kept you in the chat entertained as well. So please, if you think you could come and have a go and race with some of these. I'm sure there's still spaces, so sign up to the waiting list, and you never know, you could be racing next. But yeah, it's definitely been absolutely. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed what you've seen today. We have quite a lot of action. Usually every week we have 5 tiers, and it's always action packed and always a joy to be here. So thank you for tuning in tonight, everyone that has, and in the past, everyone. And driver of the day from in-game thinks it's Tech 31 Racing, and I get 2 nominations in a bit, and I will tell you who I think is worthy of driver of the day. But first we will not see the podium celebrations, just in case copyright things happen. I've known it happen in the past, but let's just go over the provisional race result. Redmat wins from Cam by 3 seconds there, and Colin Kaufner holds on to third despite the efforts of Rich in fourth. Kian in fifth. That's a solid race for him. Tech in sixth. Just a penalty just dropped him at the end there from a possible penalty. Thomas also, again, the same. Not that far off, but 8th Aero, and you have Jordan who retired on the penultimate lap. So he may, I think he may get credit for that. But Vitinho retired. Salty Bear, Rogue, Keys, Delta, OKK. Unfortunately, didn't see him at all. And KPP and Harley very early on. A lot of yellow flags, I think, were in operation today, and I'm just having a look at the positions of everyone. I think, yeah, you have to go. Tech Racing's actually had a decent race there. He's gone from 16th to 6th. He's up 10, and that's the most positions they've had of anyone. But you have to credit some of the drivers that have had a comeback drive, like Cam as well. He's gone 9th to 2nd, and of course you got 8th to 4th for Rich, and you've got Jordan Arrow. There's quite a few candidates here that I could choose, but I think the first one that I'm going to have to select Cam, the championship leader at this point. He's gone from 9th. He's had a bit of a recovery today as well, and at times it looked like he wasn't going to get the result that he wanted. But the question I'm going to ask him is, did you panic when everyone else had pitted under the safety car, or did you always know what you were going to get at the end? So that is the first driver of the day nomination, and that was the question. And of course the second one's going to be a little bit more tricky, because I didn't see a lot of some of these guys' races. It's always going to be tricky when there's, say, every week there's so many candidates. It sometimes seems unfair not to pick one, but I think for now we got into honourable shout out to the race winner. He just controlled the race pretty well, and when he got the lead he never gave you back and just did what he could to finish. But I think the second driver of the day, it would seem unfair to overrule the game, but I think on this occasion I'm going to have to. It was a solid effort there for Tech Racing, but I think the penalties really cost him a podium there. But I think I'm going to have to go with Aero Specialist, who finished 8th, and he started 14th, and he's not had the best of seasons. He's got 12 points going in today. So I think the question I'm going to ask Aero is, were you, after the early safety cars, were you always confident that you may be able to challenge for a top 10 position? Right, so I think that is all the necessary bits that I needed to do. There's a couple more that I do need to do before I go, though. I'd just like to thank everyone one more time, the wonderful sponsors that we have here at One Hub Racing, the sponsors and partners, of course. We couldn't do it without them, especially our sponsors, Next Level Racing, who sponsor the league by providing a Next Level Racing direct drive stand to our driver of the season, which is a new award here at One Hub Racing. And the second sponsor is 3M Sim Racing, who sponsor the league by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves to the driver with the most combined poles and fastest laps. And of course, don't forget our partners, Vespertin, who support our championship prizes, and ERT, who partner the ERT Going Gets Tough award. And that's not easy to say. when you've said it 4 times a day. But anyway, nevertheless, thank you to the ERT Going Get Stuff Award, which is for all drivers to take part in their respective media obligations on the forums before, after, during races, and who finish outside the top 3 in the drivers' standings to be eligible for that award. That's all they have to do, just attend all races. You don't necessarily have to finish races, but complete your media obligations. And I think that should do it for tonight. It's been a pleasure to be here, and I expect I'll be back at the normal place next week, but if not, I may be here again. So it's been a pleasure, but next week we are coming to you from Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. It's been a pleasure, but until then, good night everybody, stay safe, and we will see you next week here at One Hub Racing. Good night.